let's give a big round of applause to Miss Krista Mashore. Come on out, Krista! Woo!
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Hi,
everybody. You guys excited? Okay. So, everybody stand up. Stand up. We got to get excited. We got to get some energy flowing. We got to, rock this right now, all right? So, I used to be a teacher. I'm not sure if you know that about me. And there's different types of learning. One type of learning is called institutionalized learning. That's when somebody stands on stage and they just, do this to you the entire time, right? And that's great, but... Oh, sorry. See, first mistake. And that's great, but the problem with that is that you don't learn as well. Natural learning is when you engage with the teacher, and when they ask a question, you answer it, or when they, say something, you raise your hand. So I'm gonna ask you to engage today and to get involved, because that'll mean you'll learn more, and you're also more likely to actually implement once you leave. Got it? Deal? Okay, great. So you guys can sit down now. So we're talking about change today. And I've already had a lot of things happen today since I've been here, right? So this is only my third time on stage, and I usually, I love my slides because they make me not be as nervous. Well, when I got here, they're like, oh, we don't really have slides, there's no clicker. And I'm all, no clicker, I need my clicker. And then I was like, okay, it's okay. And so there's been a series of things happening, but you always try to adapt all the time, right? That's kind of what you have to do in life as much as you can. And you breathe, and then you just try to kind of roll with it. So in life, a lot of us make assumptions. Have you ever made an assumption? Raise your hand. Okay. If you've never made an assumption, raise your hand. Oh yeah, we all make assumptions, don't we? We all make assumptions. So you might see somebody driving a nice car, and you think, oh my gosh, they have a ton of money, and they just must be so successful, right? Well, they could be driving somebody else's car, correct? Or the car could be stolen, okay? True. Or they could have tons of debt. And then we see people sometimes that are posting all over social media, and they seem so happy, and they just show how in love they are. And then all of a sudden a month goes by, and they're filing for divorce, and they're fighting over who gets to take care of the cat or the Beanie Babies, right? So we assume by looking at people that everything looks great in their life, because as Amber said, that people are living behind a mask. And by the way, wasn't Amber awesome? Just let's give her a hand. I'm like, how do I go out after her? She was making me want to cry up there. I'm already kind of emotional for some reason. I'm thinking, do not cry on stage, right? She was amazing. So, but we all make assumptions. And we see people that are on this stage maybe, and you assume that those people just have everything going on, right? That they've never had any problems. They've never had any opposition at all. So, oh, good, you guys are going to be doing this a little bit, all right? Because I don't have a clicker. So when I do this, or maybe a lot more, it means, oh, come on, let's go. So, as Randy Posh said, we cannot change the cards we're dealt with only the way, I'm saying this wrong now, I can't read. So, we cannot change the cards we are dealt, and what does it say? Can you guys help me? It says, thank you. Gosh, my nerves here. Okay, so you guys are great. So I'm going to tell you a story about some cards that I was dealt. And these are cards I didn't ask for. I didn't want these cards. It was something that in no way at all in my life did I want to get these cards. So it was on a Saturday. It was about 15 years ago. I was with all of my besties, and actually a lot of them are here right now, watching me. And all of a sudden, it was like their perfect Saturday morning, right? Our kids were all playing, and we've all gone to high school together. We've been friends now for 37 years, and we've had our babies together, and all of our kids are besties. So they were running around and having such a great time, and all of a sudden, my phone rang. And at the time, I was in real estate, so I answered it, which looking back, I wish I wouldn't have. And so all of a sudden, there's a girlfriend from college on the other end. Her name's Michelle. And she said, hey, Krista, I'm here in Napa. And I said, oh, that's awesome. My husband at the time, he's there too. And she goes, I know, I saw him. And I said, oh yeah, he's at a golf thing. Make sure you say hi. And she goes, Krista, he's not golfing. I actually just witnessed him being intimate with a woman. They're kissing and holding hands. There's something going on. And so all of a sudden this loop goes through your head. Again? Like he's done it again? How many more times? How many lies? We have kids. Jalen and Kayla are only 3 and 5. We just moved into a new house. Is this really happening? And when something like this happens to you, you just think at first that it's just normal, right? And because so many people go through divorce. So many of you are thinking, that's not a big deal. But for me, it was a huge deal. I was raised in a religion that you just don't get divorced, And it's not acceptable unless somebody does adultery. So it gave me the excuse to actually get divorced, but it wasn't something that I wanted. At least at the time, I didn't think so. So it was a few months of just really, really hard times. And I was thinking, how am I going to do this? We just moved into a new home. I had just left my full-time safe teaching job to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. And my goal was to just kind of sell 1 or 2 homes a year so I could just take care of the kids and be home with them. And then all of a sudden, within a matter of weeks, my world just completely changed upside down. And I remember thinking to myself, Krista, your world's about to change, and you need to be ready for it. I knew I needed to take care of myself, but more importantly, my goal, my objective was to take care of my 2 daughters. Take care of Jalen and Kaylee. Oh, actually, again, thank you. And here they are. So they became my reason to succeed. They hate that picture, by the way. They're like, Mom, can you just use a good picture of us? So you'll see them. They yell at me all the time. So they were my mission. I knew that I had to take care of them. I wanted to make sure that they were safe and that they were secure and that everything was going to be okay with them. So they became my drive to succeed. And you need a drive sometimes, right? Because I was not feeling very happy. I was having a pity party for a while. The lowest point I remember was on Thanksgiving, and the door knocked. It was my first Thanksgiving alone without the girls. So at the door was the new girlfriend. And she was picking up my daughters and taking them away on Thanksgiving. And I don't know if you know, but that's like a really low point. And I was by myself, and I was lonely, and I was crying, and I was sobbing, and I was like, this life is just sucky. What is wrong with me? How could I be so dumb to let this happen again? What am I going to do? Why, right? And after having my pity party for most of the day, I remember sitting in the kitchen and looking in the backyard. We had just moved into a new house. So I'm not sure what it's like here, but where we live in a new home, the backyard is not done. So there was just a bunch of weeds piled about 6 feet high. So I looked in that backyard and I thought, you know what, Krista? You're done. You've got to make this work. So my goal was to get through those weeds, to tear those weeds down, and to create the best backyard that I ever could for my daughters. And that to me meant safety and security and joy and laughter and love. And so that realization at that point helped me to sell 69 homes that year, my very first year in the industry. Now, did I want to sell 69 homes? No. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, right? But my passion for my daughters and keeping them safe and secure drove me to be successful. So people always say, Krista, how are you so successful in real estate? And I said, well, first, have someone cheat on you, right? That always helps. Get your bank accounts completely drained. That really will be helpful too. And then have the fear of losing your daughters. That will drive anyone to be successful. So here's the deal. When you look at people and you think, they've got everything going on for them. I want you to understand, the reason I'm telling you this story is because everybody has a story, right? Everyone has something going on. Even right now, like Amber that you saw on stage, her story is she's going through it right now. And man, to see her smile and to see her confidence, I saw her backstage and I just gave her the biggest hug and I was, this stage, oh wow, there we go. Echo, right? Like this man right here, he sold Constant Contact, that's you. I mean, do you guys know Constant Contact? Like if you don't, you must be living under a rock because he's like a bazillionaire. And I'm sure that he's had some problems in his life. Right? I'm sure he's been on stage and the thing went off and he was like, figure this out. I mean, he's had things that have gone wrong in his life. Every single successful person has had things bad happen to them. But the way you choose to deal with these situations determines whether you're going to succeed or fail. Let me say it again. The way that you choose to deal with situations determines whether you will succeed or whether you will fail. I say, let's succeed. Right? We have a choice, don't we? Yes. Oh yeah, we have a choice. Okay, good. So just to let you know, I am absolutely now happily married to a new husband, okay? We have been married for 10 years this summer, together 11. And I'll tell you what, I have to tell you a story really quick. This is kind of off topic, but this is only my third time on stage. My first time, which by the way, I completely bombed. I mean, no one would even smile the whole time. I got my foot stuck in the stage, and then I forgot to tell people that I was remarried, so everyone was dogging Steve afterwards. They're like, they think I'm a cheating jerk, He's like, please make sure. And I meant to tell them about him, but I forgot. So afterwards, everyone was looking at him like he was this cheating a-hole, So he's not, he's a nice guy. But I will tell you this, when I went through that problem, I didn't know that one day I'd be married to my best friend. I'd be fulfilled, I'd be happy. I went through hell for a long time. I remember one time with my dad, and I'm pretty thin, right? Imagine me 20 pounds thinner. I lost so much weight because I was so sad. I just looked emancipated. And I remember one day, and my dad is one of my besties, but we were eating sushi. We went to sushi, and he was so happy, and it was kind of like the dust was starting to settle. I was kind of getting myself back. I was happier again. I was laughing. And again, my phone rang, those dang phones, and I answered it because my ex had the kids. And all of a sudden, he just starts yelling and screaming. I don't even remember what it was about, but I just again, right? And I remember looking at my dad, and his head just dropped because he was so sad that I was so sad. But my point is that then I got happy. Right? I got happy, and I pushed, and I worked through. And it was hard. It was hard, but I made it. Okay. So when I talk, my voice gets so thirsty. Okay, so we need to know in our life, we've got to learn to push through things, right? We've got to go over them. We've got to go under them. We've got to go around them. We've got to go through them. No matter what, we've got to keep pushing. Because the only way that you can fail with anything in life is if you stop. The only way you can fail is if you stop. Who here thinks that there's never going to have a problem again? Raise your hand if you think you're never going to have a problem. Well, oh my gosh, that's great. That's a great attitude, right? But in most cases, we're going to go through trauma and turmoil. Change is going to happen in our life that we don't want. And even sometimes when we do want change, it can still be hard, right? Even when we want it, it can be difficult. But how we choose to deal with opposition, how we choose to deal with pain and change determines how we succeed or fail. And remember, we all said we want to succeed. So we have to choose to do our best to make things work. Make sense? Okay. So you're saying, Krista, when your husband cheats on you or you get your bank accounts drained or, something horrible happens, you want me to be all Pollyanna about it? I love you. Just be all Pollyanna about it and just, move on? I'm not saying that you can't get upset because things happen, right? Things happen. We get upset. But what I'm saying is have your pity party and then don't let it ruin the rest of your week or your month or your year. Choose to get over it and to move on because I get so thirsty, guys, sorry. Because things are going to keep on happening. It's called life, right? Okay. So now when we're making change, when things happen to us, we need to think about how can I make the situation better? What can I do to make it better? Not constantly focus on what went wrong, right? Focusing on, you're okay, don't worry. We can focus on how things get better. So let me tell you a story about my friend Natalie. So this is Natalie, all right? Natalie is an amazing woman. She actually used to be an aerobics instructor. She was so good that she would be on TV. So one day while she was on TV, she peed her pants on TV. That's like me peeing my pants right now. I would seriously die. I would die. Yes. She peed her pants on national TV, live on TV. And see, she had this problem called incontinence. What that is if you're a woman, you might know, but it's when you have a baby, sometimes if you sneeze or laugh or pretty much do anything, you kind of leak a little bit, okay? So she did it in front of the whole world. Now, instead of her jumping off the stage, which I probably would do, or hiding under a rock, what she did was she realized that doctors said that there is no cure for this. And she thought, no, I'm gonna find a cure for this because I know that other women are having this exact same problem. So she found a solution, and you know what? She is a multi-millionaire now. She found a solution. She made a small ebook. She sold it online, and within 6 months, she was a multi-millionaire. So she not only made lemonade out of lemons, she made millions out of lemons, all right? Because she chose to utilize that situation of complete embarrassment on TV and utilize it to her advantage. She didn't just run away and crawl under a rock. So I'm gonna ask you not to crawl under a rock. Have you ever wanted some change? Is there some kind of change that you want and you feel stuck? Whoa, is that the rain? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. When I was a kid, I used to sit in the car, and when I was sad, and I'd sit in the car in my parents' car, I listened to the rain, and it was just like this. I love that sound. That's like the universe right there doing that, I swear. But yeah, I love the rain. It sounds really nice. And again, now I'm getting my ADHD is derailing what I was gonna say. So if you do feel stuck, like maybe you feel stuck because you don't like the job that you're in, all right? Maybe you don't like the job that you're in. And I'll tell you, I know what that feels like, and I'll tell you why. When I was a real estate agent, and people would look at me and probably think, oh my gosh, she's got it all, and I did really well. I mean, I went from nothing, right? I was actually in juvenile hall when I was younger, and then in a foster home. And that's where I met my besties right here that helped me on my path to success. And so they're raising their hands, yeah. So when I became a real estate agent, I was very, very successful because of the drive with my children, okay? And then one day I was in the car driving with my husband. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. We should just all take a moment here. Oh my gosh. That was neat. So we're driving in the car, and I love people. I mean, if you know me, you know that I am just passionate about people. I love to help people, I like making people smile. I like everyone to like me. I mean, I'm that person, okay? And so we're driving, and my phone was just going crazy because I was selling. That year I sold 169 homes that year, and it was just me and two people. We were insanely busy. And so I would go on an appointment, and all of a sudden my phone would ring about 50 times. And then by the time I was done answering my phone, I had 27 more text messages and 15 more phone calls to make. So it was just like crazy at that time. So I answered the phone, and I hung up, and my dear, sweet, loving husband said, babe, you were just not very nice. He's like, you weren't very nice. And I go, I wasn't? And that was about 6 years ago. And at that point, I remember thinking, I can't keep doing this. Like, it's too much. I'm tired. I hadn't had a vacation in like 17 years. That's the truth, where I didn't bring my phone. And I was up and, working like a little crack addict at 4 a.m. in the lobby while my family was sleeping, and then sneaking back in so they didn't know I was working. That has been my life for a very long time. So I made a choice to actually change. And when I made that choice to change, to become a business coach, my husband was a little scared, I think. And my parents said, what are you talking about? You're going to become a coach. Like, no one's going to pay you to coach them. And you're doing so well. Why would you change that? And I'm like, because I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't feel fulfilled anymore. And I miss teaching. I miss teaching and being a teacher and helping and serving people. That's what I want to do. And so for 7 months, I made no money at all. Nobody would pay me a thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, everybody was right. But I didn't listen. I just kept on pushing. And now I'm coaching people across the country. And I wake up every day going, thank you. I'm just so happy in the shower because I'm doing what I love again. Right? But I made the choice to get out of that stuck situation. So what is your stuck? How are you stuck? We all have something, right? But you can get unstuck. But you can't get unstuck if you stay in your comfort zone. Now, I know this is so cliche. We've heard it a couple times today, right? Don't stay in your comfort zone. But really, really, it's true. Your comfort zone is not your friend. Your comfort zone is like an enemy, a gas chamber, keeping you all warm and snuggly in there, right? It's all the good stuff happens outside of the comfort zone. Now, I could have stayed in my comfort zone, being a great real estate agent, and being completely miserable because I was not being the best mom because I was always working. My husband was like, get off the phone on our date. And sometimes I'm sorry, I still am, don't get mad. Right, I could have made a choice. So what is keeping you in your comfort zone? Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's holding you back. It's your fear, right? It's your fear. Do one of these things. Okay, so here's what you need to first do, is understand your comfort zone is not your friend, right? And then secondly, what we need to do is you need to ask yourself, why do you want that thing? Why do you want to be unstuck? And your why needs to be so compelling that you'll do anything and everything to get out of it. Remember, my first why was taking care of my kids. It was important, putting food on their table, keeping them safe, secure, sound. Growing up and being in a foster home and feeling that sense of being unwanted, it was so important to me to keep them safe and make them feel good in our home. It was a huge, huge why for me. My second why on the new career was because I just was miserable. You know, I know that sounds like, how could you be miserable, Krista? It looks like on the outside we assume that you just have it all going on, but I was tired. And so my new why was fulfilling my passion of serving people and being there for people and making people smile and lifting people up, right? So your why has to be that important to you, as important as putting food on the table, keeping your kids safe. If you have a strong enough why, you'll do anything and everything to get where you want to go. So think about, what is your why? If you're stuck, how do you get unstuck? You can do it. I promise you can do it. Even though at times you feel like you can't get through those weeds. But remember, you want to build that backyard. You want to build that security and that safety and that laughter and that love. Maybe you think, I want to make more money. Well, I'm going to tell you, people do not do something just to put more zeros in their bank account. They just don't. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to take my kids on vacation. Okay, we're getting there. Why do you want to take your kids on vacation? Because I want to see them laugh and play. I want to be able to have enough money to take them on vacation and let them do any excursion that they want to. I want to quit having to smuggle my cocktails to the pool, right? I don't want to have to do that anymore. Although I still will, because I don't like spending $12 on a cocktail. It just drives me crazy. I'm just going to tell you. My kids are like, Mom, you're so cheap about some things. I'm like, I know. They get mad. I don't like spending 10 cents on a bag either. It just drives me nuts, right? I mean, it really does. I'm like, the bag, you know? So your why, as far as the vacation, really might be, I know if I can afford any vacation and go anywhere I want, that means that I'm going to be able to leave my children. When I go, they're going to be safe. They're going to be secure. For me, everything goes back to safety, right? And taking care of my family. It really, really does. So ask yourself that why. So there's me as a teacher, right? I'm Miss Miller, and I'm going to tell you a story. So Alyssa, she's the third one over on the same row as me. Now, when Alyssa came to my classroom, Alyssa was a young girl who had, this is a really crazy story. Melanie, you're going to love this. So she was in third grade. She was in third grade. And they said, Krista, first of all, this girl, hide your food because she just eats. And she was like, weighed about 5 pounds. She's like, she steals food all the time. Well, this poor girl had been gone from foster home to foster home to foster home. All right? And she said, and she has this crazy temper. And they show me this video, which they never should have shown me because I can never get it out of my head, of 5 adults holding this third grader down. And they said, she's crazy, Krista, you watch her. And I was like, that little girl is going to thrive in my room. I made the choice right there. I'm going to help change this little girl's life. Her name was Alyssa. Okay, she was the perfect student. She had a teacher, a helper, and I told the helper, you are not allowed to let anyone in this class know that you're her helper. No one is allowed to know that you're with her. You are the class helper, okay? If anyone ever knows that you're the helper, I will make sure that you are no longer in this classroom. I'll get a new aide, do you understand? And she was like, she loved it. So Alyssa was just a normal kid. You see, everywhere Alyssa went, this path followed her. And people would assume that she was a certain way. So then she assumed that she was that way. But as soon as somebody gave her a chance, and she was able to thrive. Now Alyssa, because her mom calls me about once a year and tells me how great she's doing, she's a model. She's a model. She no longer stole. She just needed one person to help her, right? And that made me feel so amazing. That's why I have my new why, right? Because of Alyssa, people like her. So what is your why? I can't see. I'm getting blind, you guys. Okay, now let's talk about fear. See, I need my clickers. I need to get some glasses too. So we all have fear. Fear holds us back. Fear holds us back. So I could have stayed stuck in where I was at in my new comfort zone of being a real estate agent, right? Or I could have made the choice to jump out of that comfort zone and go somewhere else. Don't let fear hold you back. Fear is hurting you. It's not your friend. We are all afraid. And you know what people are mostly afraid of? They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of not being accepted. They're afraid of messing up. They're afraid of succeeding sometimes because they're so used to being where they're at. Don't let fear hold you back. Figure out what it is. What's that thing that you have going on? What's keeping you in the weeds? You want a backyard, right? You want joy and happiness and laughter. What is keeping you stuck? There's something. Do not let fear be that person, because people's biggest regrets in life are doing things that they know they could have changed and still can. That's their biggest regrets in life. Don't have that regret. You can do anything and everything you want to if you focus. If you focus and you get out of that comfort zone and you have a good why and you jump, don't let fear hold you back. And next, if you persist, if you persevere. Perseverance, my friends, is what you're going to need no matter what in your life. Come see me at the end. I've got a free book for you guys. So if you'd like, we'll do the next one. If you'd like, I wrote a book called Fire, Financially Independent, Retire Early. This book, if you'd like, you can get a free copy of it, and it will just help you understand if you have a new passion or if you're feeling stuck, how to get unstuck. Then it will teach you how to market it and how to monetize it. So I'd love to give you guys a free copy. If you text that, it'll leave you guys a free copy of the book so you can figure out how to get unstuck, which would be great, huh? If you're stuck. We're all stuck with something. Okay. You guys are doing a great job, too, being able to understand, like, all my little hand gestures and know which one it comes from. Am I saying next, or am I just Italian and moving like crazy? So a person's biggest regret comes from not changing the things they know they still can. Right? That is so true. Yes? Can you guys back up real quickly to show them the texting? I should know that, huh? There you go. I was going to put it at the end, and then my speaking coach said, don't do that. It's like not good timing. So I changed it. You guys got it? You tell me when I can go. Yeah? Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, so we got to persevere, right? You got to persevere. You got to push. Because guess what? When you want to make a change, or when you have something that's an obstacle, it doesn't happen instantly. You don't instantly all of a sudden be successful, right? It doesn't happen. If you're trying to change a habit or create a new one, do you know that research says it takes about 2 weeks, but really it takes about 6 months of consistently trying to change a habit or create a new one. 6 months. So that means we need to persevere making that change or dealing with what we're trying to deal with. This is where we're going to show you guys a great little clip of Pollyanna. 16 times, that poor horse, he's like, get her off me, right? I mean, can you imagine? So what did we notice about that? Did she just try one way? No, she went over and she put her foot up and she grabbed the mane, she grabbed the tail, she went up and she went down and back around and all these things, right? She had perseverance. And when she was doing that, didn't she look happy? She was like smiling the entire time, right? She was happy the entire time. And as Winston Churchill says, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Because why? We're going to fail. We're going to make mistakes. And what I tell my students is when you are failing, you should smile because it means that you're growing, you're learning, you're improving, you're changing. If you're not failing and you're not making mistakes when you're trying to climb up that ladder or get yourself out of the hole, then something's wrong. Because it's impossible to become bigger, better, stronger, faster, and only being comfortable all the time. You're gonna mess up. I have to tell you, when I was getting my teaching credential, I was in special ed when I was younger. They found out when I was in second grade I couldn't read. So I was that kid in class that I would, that, like reading, and they called me and I'd read 5 things ahead, and then I'd pray that they didn't change my paragraph, right? So they found out I couldn't read. And it took me 5 times to pass my multiple subject assessment test. 5 times. And I was very, very poor back then. It was about $200 each time, which meant really it was around $1,000 in today's day. I didn't have $1,000. So every time I failed, I was just like, ugh. And then there was twice that I actually passed, but I didn't get a big enough score in one of the subjects, so they didn't pass me. So I had no money, I was broke, and then I felt like not the smartest person, but I did not give up. I didn't give up. I kept pushing and trying and going and figuring out how to make the money to take the test. And then finally I passed. And then I became like the most amazing teacher ever. That was like, I was born to teach, right? And thank goodness I didn't give up, because if I did, I wouldn't realize that I was also born to coach, okay? So I'm so happy that I kept going and pushing and pushing. So figure out what it is that you're gonna do to make you want to keep on pushing. I know if I do the hands a lot, you guys are probably, right? So when you fail at something, it's not a warning sign that you should stop. Because you fail or make a mistake, most people think, oh, this means I should stop. It's not working. No, it means you've got to keep going. It means you're doing something right because you are making mistakes. You've got to keep on pushing, 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 pushing. Now, a lot of people ask me, Krista, are there always going to be obstacles? Yeah. There probably much is. You're going to always have obstacles in most cases, right? That is life. Such is life. And we just keep pushing it. We keep pushing it. We keep going. So I'd like to give you just a couple tips on things. I'm so sorry, guys, about this. It's making all these noises. I apologize. I want to give you a couple tips that you can do to actually help you. Number one, we've heard it up here, right? Show gratitude. Every morning when you wake up, show gratitude. Focus on what is working. Focus on everything that you're thankful for. The more you focus on good, the more good will come. I promise you. And everybody here has tons of things to be thankful for. Find those things. You get what you think about. Visualize your day every single day. When you wake up, see yourself succeeding. Today, I saw myself succeeding. I did. I didn't expect all these things to happen, and we're doing okay, right? So visualize yourself succeeding. Show gratitude. Visualize yourself succeeding and celebrate your wins. We don't do it enough. We beat ourselves up. Here's a quick trick for you. There's rubber bands in the back. Anytime you say something negative about yourself, no matter what it is, I want you to snap this. For example, I talk too fast, which I do. I talk too fast. No, you don't, Krista. You talk nice and slow. People can understand you. Every time you say a negative thought about yourself, I want you to realize it, snap the rubber band, move it to the other hand, and then rephrase that statement. Why? Because number one, you're going to realize just how often you beat yourself up. Number two, you're going to realize that you're going to rephrase what you're saying, because you'll get more of what you focus on. You'll get more. Your thoughts were built to bring you what you're thinking in your life. So be positive. So how do we overcome change? Number one, we remember that the comfort zone is not our friend. Number two, we have the most amazing why. We have got the strongest why ever. We overcome obstacles where we don't let fear hold us back, and we keep going. And then what will happen is you'll end up, I'm just going to go to the very end, like the three pictures. Thank you so much. Great. You'll go from this to this to this. You can build your own backyard. It can absolutely, so you guys look cute there, Jalen and Kaylee. So, so you can build your own backyard, your own happiness, but you got to push, and you got to believe, and you got to know. And thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Krista. That was amazing. Great job. Thank you so much.